Welcome to very first episode of I Struggle podcast with me, Mona Brun. I am very honored to be here and to speak to you from this place. On today's episode, I talked to Jade Mordente. Jade is a reiki healer and a tarot reader, and I think that she wouldn't mind if I would call her my friend, because I feel like we have that kind of friendship bond that we created through social media. I started working with Jade at the beginning of 2021 in lockdown, and since that time I'm a regular, and I try to join her Thursday classes every single week because they help me so much, and I feel like through our Reiki magical world we created that beautiful relationship together, and I couldn't imagine having the podcast without Jade. So I'm very happy. Today we talk about Reiki. We talk about misconception about tarot, how to protect your energy, and we also talk about lunar cycles and many more. I'm happy to have you in here. I'm happy that you decided to spend your time with us today, and I hope that you'll enjoy it.
I feel like I love the whole concept though. Like as soon as you sent me the Word doc, which has the concept, I was like, this is such a good idea, and it's something that so many people need right now.
Yeah, because like we all struggle. We all struggle. We will in the future. I will struggle in the future. You will struggle in the future. But I think the more we talk about it, the more we normalize it. It just becomes a normal thing, and we take that shame and stigma off.
I totally agree.
That's really important. So 100%. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you're doing.
Okay.
Because I don't know.
Okay, so should we start? Are you recording like all of this?
Yes.
For the whole thing.
Yes.
Okay, because I didn't know if you were going to cut bits.
I'm gonna cut bits like when we are like talking in private, obviously. But
okay. So I'll start just as I would be on a podcast now. I didn't know if
let's go.
Let's go. Okay.
So who are you, Jade?
Now it's my turn to get nervous. Okay.
Let's take a deep breath together. We got this.
We got it. Okay, so I'm Jade, and I am a holistic healer. I'm a tarot reader. I basically use traditional healing modalities to support people's mental health journeys. And I live in Edinburgh now. I just moved back up from London. I'm originally from Dundee. So It's been really nice transitioning and coming back into Scotland. I've loved every minute of it. And yeah, the holistic healing is something that's always been a part of me. I've always been able to connect to spirit. I've always been really intuitive, but I kind of lost myself, as a lot of us do, in my teens, early 20s, and kind of put all of that to one side for a minute because I was, wanting to go down a different path. And then I came back to it, and it has just been so helpful and such a staple in my wellness journey myself. And I love being able to now offer that same healing for other people and help them on their journey who might be struggling right now as well.
What made you come back to it?
So it was so interesting because I kept having issues with my mental health. I kept finding myself in toxic situations, toxic relationships, not being able to set boundaries, not being able to, stick up for myself, constantly people pleasing. A lot of behavior patterns were repeating themselves, which all stemmed from my early teens. And it was so interesting because whenever I was going through like the depths of my mental health and the dark thoughts and the pain and the worry, I would always come back to my crystals, my tarot cards, my meditation practice, my yoga practice. Like everything that was healing me was always holistic. And I would go to the doctors and I would, try my best to do all the types of therapy and everything like that. But day in, day out, the crystals and the tarot cards were my emotional support system. And they were always there for me, because sometimes doctors' waiting lists are extensive and therapy is expensive. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
I my journey with like holistic healing started
Mm,
2 years ago when I really struggled with my mental health, and I would like experience panic and anxiety attacks literally every single day.
mm,
And oh my God, I thought that's the end of my life. That's over,
mm.
and I couldn't like see the way out of it. And obviously I went to doctor and I was told that we all struggle with stress, and that's basically the advice that I've got. I was like, cool, I'm healed now. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's time to look after myself and look out what's out there. Why is that happening to me? What can I do about it? So I started practicing yoga. I started from yoga, and I remember like first classes, and I was like, oh my God, I need to be like silent for like 1 hour. And my mind, I had the monkey mind, so I like had to constantly talk and laugh, constantly let it
Mm,
out and be like happy and be the hype person. And I remember doing that. It was so weird for me to do that for like 1 hour, to be silent for a 1 hour and just focus on my body and on my well-being. And then I slowly started discovering like crystals and reiki, and meditation has changed my life. So I don't know where I would be without mindfulness, without spirituality. I wouldn't be probably in here, because that's where I could like build myself, build my values, see my worth. And I can't imagine a day without meditation or journaling. But I would like you
I'm the
to tell
same.
me a little bit more about Reiki energy. What's Reiki?
Yeah, well, your journey sounds so amazing with it as well. And just on that topic of like being silent for an hour, I remember when I first went to the Buddhist center. I went to a Buddhist center near my
Mm,
house in East London at the time, and it was a 2.5 hour meditation class.
wow.
And I remember thinking like, oh my God, this is going to be like impossible. Like I cannot be silent for 2.5 hours. I can't be with my own thoughts for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And then I came out the other side of it, and I literally have never felt so at peace and
Hmm.
happy.
Hmm.
And like the world just felt like I could actually gain some perspective again.
Hmm.
And that's when I realized, oh my God, this is going to change my life.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
This.
So Reiki is a beautiful practice. It's a Japanese practice, and it is effectively all of our body is an energy field. We've got energy constantly moving through us. I'm sure you've heard of the aura. I'm sure you've
Hmm.
heard of the chakra system. We have energy, and if I like to visualize it as if our body is a channel of water, right? And we got
Hmm.
this energy is like the water. And every situation we go through, whether it's grief, whether it's heartbreak, whether it's bullying, heart, any kind of pain, trauma, anything like that, will form a little rock in that pool, in that stream.
Hmm.
So if you visualize it, by the time we get to like our teens and our 20s and even our 30s and beyond that, if we haven't cleared that channel, then
Hmm.
our energy isn't flowing in harmony. Our energy is flowing with all this disruption to it.
Hmm.
And that's when we get things like mental health issues, disease, all sorts of things pop up in the body.
Yeah.
So what Reiki does is Reiki effectively takes those rocks out of the energy
Hmm.
pool.
Hmm.
Reiki just realigns the energy flow within the body, and it's such a gentle practice, but it's so powerful. And I remember just my first time ever having Reiki done. I went to this lady's house, and she didn't know anything about me, and she just started touching my body, and I had never had Reiki before, so I was
Hmm.
like, oh my God, like what is this? I feel kind of, I
Weird,
could
right?
feel a heat,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Yeah.
where's the
Yeah.
heat coming from? And I was like,
Uh-huh.
there's heat on my body, but I don't know where she's getting this heat from. And it was such a strange sensation. And then I burst into tears, and I just started hysterically crying.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just like giving me space to cry, and I could feel like, as I said, I could see loads of vivid colors, and I
Hmm.
left, and I'd felt this huge sense of release, and
Hmm.
it almost shook me for a while. Like I didn't even really like know what to think of it, because I was like, wow, that's so powerful. And it was in the coming years, a year or two after that, that I really started to think, my I need more of that, and I need to just really dive into that head first. And yeah, then I became a practitioner myself,
Hmm.
and it's such a beautiful practice.
It's beautiful.
So
I
yeah,
remember my first Reiki session, and I remember when I had a rose quartz on my third eye, and it was like burning, burning. Literally, it was so hot, and on my throat as well. because I have a tendency to struggle with communication. It was so hot. I was like, why is it so warm? But I also
Yeah.
remember after first session to feel very like sick to my stomach. I was like, oh my God,
Mm,
I feel so sick. It's such a weird feeling, but it works. The more you do
yes.
it, it really
And
works.
And actually, this is something that I say to clients because every session is so unique and you're moving
Mm-hmm.
different
Yeah.
parts of the body and you're moving that stagnant energy. So sometimes a client will leave and they'll feel on top of the world and they're like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But other times they might have a really emotional
Yeah.
experience or
Mm-hmm.
actually get a little bit frustrated or like even a little bit angry because they're shifting something that's been
Mm-hmm.
really lodged in there for so long.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's always healing you, but it can just feel like a different sensation every time when it gets deeper and deeper. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
I love it with crystals. I love it with use it with herbs, with oils. It's such a complementary practice to massage, to everything.
Do you do Reiki to yourself?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. I do. But I also go and get Reiki sessions done
Mm-hmm.
because I
Mm-hmm.
do a lot of self Reiki, but I often think that I don't know, someone else doing it for you and getting the chance to
It's different.
unwind is so
It's
nice.
different. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
so different.
Because I do Reiki to myself. I do Reiki with quartz crystals to
Mm,
myself, but it's a different vibe when someone does it for you. Definitely. I think it's the same with like tarot reading. When you do reading for yourself, it's like, I'm gonna pull that card. That's what I want.
yeah, I'm just going to keep doing it till I get the star.
So true. So it's better when someone does it for you because you can't question it, right? You just have to
Yeah.
accept this. You just need to take it as it is. Another thing that I would like to know more about is intuition, because I had this chat with my
Mhm.
friend the other day about something, and I was like, just listen to your intuition, and she goes, "What is it? Like, how can I how can I listen to my intuition? Where is my intuition?" And I was like, wow, wow. Because you don't realize, because once you're in tune with yourself, once you're aligned with yourself, the intuition becomes your guidance. But you forget that other people don't have that developed yet. So what's intuition? What's the difference between intuition and our ego?
So I feel like everyone has intuition. It's like a muscle that we have to strengthen. And the more
Mm-hmm.
we trust it, the more it'll strengthen. I would, to describe it, like I feel something that everyone has experienced to some degree is where you maybe walk into a room or you meet a person and you instantly, for no explained reason, might feel like a
Wrong.
little
Yeah.
bit
Mm-hmm.
strange. You might just feel
Mm-hmm.
a bit like, oh, I don't know if there's an energy in this room. It feels a bit awkward in this room, or it feels a bit
Mm-hmm.
tense in this room. When no one said a word, you can just feel it. And if you can trust that, then that will strengthen. But the ego mind, I like to believe it as the ego is the material. It's the what's everyone else doing? Like how do I look? How do I appear? How do
Mm-hmm.
I look to the outside world? What do they think of me? The intuition is like, I don't care what anyone else thinks of me. I don't care what anyone else is doing. This is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very raw and very pure form of us being. And I feel like it can be our guide, but you've got to really listen, and that's the hard part, because people, it doesn't always tell you what you want to hear, but it will tell you what you
Yeah.
need to hear. And
Yeah.
that's what a lot of people don't always like. If you get a gut feeling, I've done this loads of times, like red flags, gut feelings I've
Tell me more about
avoided.
it. Tell me more. Don't do that. Don't go
Because
out
I'm
with
like,
that boy. I'm
oh
like,
my,
you shut
yeah,
up. You shut up. We're gonna have a good time.
yeah.
Never worked. Intuition is
It's
always
never worked.
right.
And you always end up being proven your intuition. You're like, oh my God, I should have just listened to my intuition. But it's a powerful, powerful thing. It's a powerful thing. To strengthen it, I really believe keeping crystals around is a really good way to strengthen it. You can work with your third eye and your crown chakras. I feel meditation is a really good way to like listen to that inner voice, that higher self, and get away from the ego.
And also journaling. I find journaling really helpful. Like I try to journal
Yeah.
every single day because, the journal won't judge you. Like you can put anything on the paper, any of your thoughts, any of the intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just helps, especially when you overthink things, which I have tendency to sometimes. So it really helps me to let it out, let it go. How do you protect your energy when you heal so many people, when you help so many people? Because I'm an empath, so I try to avoid crowded places because it doesn't make me feel good. And I feel very tired after being around many people or some people.